Farmer Dobson Winter, who died tragically 2 days after reaching America, brought back to his Jamaican hometown and is laid to rest.
Confident of the resurrection to eternal life. You, Christ, are the King of glory, the eternal Son of the Father. When you took our flesh to set us free, you only chose the virgin.
He died on his youngest daughter's birthday and was buried on his sister's birthday. Now the details. A doleful atmosphere permeated Lluidas Vale and surrounding communities in St. Catherine as people got ready for the burial of their long-serving taxi operator Dobson Winter, who was also a farm worker. He lost his life in a two-vehicle crash while on the government's farmer program in the United States.
Dobson Winter has returned home. Many taxi operators are here, paying their last respect to him.
Pick up yourself, sir.
It would have been good for him to have returned to his hometown on foot and with smiles, but he appeared in a white hearse. The hearse did not show up in Lluidas Vale alone. It was part of a motorcade dominated by grieving taxi operators who worked locally with Winter when he was not on the seasonal farm work program. Winter left the island on August 11, 2022 and died 2 days later. Another Jamaican farm worker who was a passenger in the golf cart driven by Winter succumbed to his injuries after spending months in a United States hospital. The date of Winter's demise will forever be etched in his daughter Amelia Winters' mind. In case you are wondering why, her father died on the same day she legally became an adult, her birthday.
On her 18th birthday, what a present. It was not me.
The woman on your screen is Rosalie McLean, who did the eulogy during Winter's burial service at Lluidas Vale Baptist Church on Saturday, October 22, 2022. She told the audience that hours before Winter died, he actually sent money back to Jamaica for his daughter Amelia to purchase a birthday gift. Amelia bought the gift, celebrated her special day, and eventually was calling her dad to tell him how the birthday went.
Saturday afternoon, when all was finished, she called Daddy Dobson. The phone rang and answered. Amelia said she remembered her daddy told her that if you call me and you don't get me, the Wi-Fi may be unavailable on the farm, so call me back later. Poor little baby girl called later on in the night, and all she heard was a burping burn in the phone. Jesus.
Amelia, though crying at times, displayed courage at her father's Thanksgiving service. She broke down while reading the first Bible lesson, but mustered the courage to stand between two of her peers and pull off a song.
Toast to the ones here today, toast to the ones that were lost on the way, cause the drinks bring back all the memories, and the memories bring back you.
Amelia and Winter's other three daughters were not the only ones grieving the massive loss. Winter's tragic end shook the community of Pennington, Lluidas Vale to its core. After all, that's where he lived up to the time of his death. It's where he spent his childhood.
A very, very good neighbor of mine, Dobson, Dada, Dapo. On this day, the 29th of June 1962, a handsome bouncing baby boy was birthed inherited by Miss Mary Bryan and fathered by Mr. Oliver Winter, Marsnall, both now deceased. They named this baby boy Dobson Albert Winter. He was the 9th of 10 children. At the age of 7 years, Dobson was enrolled at the Wonderbolus All-Age School, now known as Wonderbolus Primary. He did well academically and graduated as a literate and numerate student. His childhood days in Pennington were as any normal child. He fetched water from the spring. He cut wood for the fire. He tied out his goats. He rode on his skate. He shot birds in the bushes using his slingshot, and he would bathe in the river. And this is a typical country style.
As he grew older, Winter recognized the need to fend for himself, and so he went job hunting.
And his first job was at the Worthy Sugar Estate, where he worked there for a very short while. He then landed his second job as a security guard at one of Kingston's prominent security firms. And as you will notice on your program, you will see Dobson exhibiting some long guns. Those were the days when he was in the security business. But because of the long working hours and the night duty, he resigned. He was subsequently recruited for the farmer program in the United States of America, where Dobson worked seasonally for decades until his tragic passing. Dobson's tragic death had a devastating impact on his family, all of us as friends, and the entire community of Pennington. As the news of his tragic death spread throughout the community, there was a quiet hush and numbness that pervaded over the community. In all my life residing in Pennington, I have not seen one soul on the road that Sunday morning. This was evidence of the unspeakable grief as we all tried to cope with Dobson's death. When I got the phone call, I said, "Who? When this happened? Are you sure?" Absolutely unbelievable. One should not be surprised about death, but this one shook us like a tremor. We have lost a beautiful soul, a beautiful human being, a son of the soil, and a gentle giant. Pennington will never be the same without you, Dapo. Your shoes will be extremely difficult to Phil.
She has vivid memories of him comforting her when she became victim of a house burglary in 2016, and she recalled him challenging a group of gunmen who robbed his mother in the 1980s.
He was also a very courageous young man. And I'm going to relate a story to you of what Dobson did in the early 1980s. His courage was displayed one night in 1980 when his mother's business place in Pennington was being burglarized, robbed. Gunmen entered Miss Mary and Ma's Ruther's shop and they robbed them at gunpoint. Dobson single-handedly rode on his motorbike and with the assistance of the Shady Grove police, he rounded up those robbers and they were punished. Courage of one young man.
McLean, a justice of the peace and retired school principal, said Winters was also creative and multi-talented.
Bet you never knew Dobson was a barber. He could cut your hair. Dobson was also a tailor. I heard somebody say he would unpull the pants and stitch and make it to his liking. This was a trade Dobson inherited from his father, Masnall, and his mother, Miss Mary. Masnall was a tailor, his mother was a dressmaker. So these were innate talents. He would be a plumber. Dobson would fix any household appliance, whether it was a radio, a television, a blender. And he was a very creative individual. I recall my days in the classroom. I was never yet good at drawing. And when I had my teaching aids, my charts to do, I would just take them to Dobson, whichever subject area, and they would be beautifully done.
Winters had a reputation for keeping his vehicles spanking clean. Not a bad idea after all, considering that he used most of those vehicles to make a living as a taxi operator for some 30 years.
He also strongly felt his calling was in the service to his community of Pennington and its environs. Hence, he entered the taxi service, where he found ultimate satisfaction in serving his passengers. He gave 30 sterling years, half of his life, in exceptional and invaluable service to the taxi service. Dobson loved to socialize, going to parties. But what was his objective here? Mostly to support his friends.
Not allowing emotions to get the better of her, McLean completed the eulogy, but in the end, she cried for her true friend. Winters' tragic departure from this world also took a toll on his second daughter, Cornelia, who told the congregation how she learned of her father's passing.
On that same Saturday, I went to bed unusually early. I woke up shortly before daylight to see several missed calls from different people. It was then I realized my father had died. My heart froze. He left Jamaica healthy and strong. I really didn't expect such end, a tragic end.
Cornelia also disclosed that when her father told her that he was leaving for America, she, unlike on previous occasions, felt an apprehension about the arrangement, but she kept it to herself because she didn't want to disrupt his earning opportunity.
Strangely, I was very unhappy about him leaving this time round, and my only regrets is that I did not tell him to stay.
Cornelia described her dad as her lifeline and hero.
My father was my lifeline. He was my hero. We were one of a kind. No one and nothing could come between us. Nothing.
I hope you dance in the sky, and I hope you sing in the angels' choir. I hope the angels know what they have. I'll spend the night up in Paris to rise.
There was also a written tribute by Winters' maternal nephew, Leroy Linton, who was represented by his daughter, Jamaica.
Those who knew us knew very well that nothing on this earth could separate us. My uncle was my brother and my best friend. He stood with me in my battles. He offered his shoulder in my sadness. He gave clarity and prudence advice in my moments of confusion. And he was an eye that I wasn't born with in the back of my head. Another thing that stands out in my mind about Uncle Dobson was his love for vintage music. He simply couldn't get enough from Dennis Brown, Delroy Wilson, Culture, Burning Spear, and Alton Ellis.
The outpouring of love for Winter was not confined to Jamaica. According to the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, the people with whom Winter worked in America held him in high esteem.
He was a member of the Golden Harvest crew. To say he was a good person is an understatement. His colleagues describe him as a pleasant guy who gets along with everyone. Furthermore, his disposition as a team player was admirable, as he displayed an exemplary attitude towards his work, his superiors, and his co-workers. Mr. Winters' boss described him as a cheerful and excellent worker with a good work ethic. He noted the sadness throughout the camp and mentioned that Mr. Winter would be greatly missed.
The Labour Ministry further stated that Winter was a dedicated worker and so was an asset to the government's farmer program.
He's a committed, respectable, hardworking, and good attitude are some of his characters that the Overseas Employment Unit team seek to identify each applicant selected to participate in the program in the United States and Canada. In 1990, we identified such a person in Mr. Dobson Winter, and he was selected to join the group assigned to travel to the USA. Mr. Winter was employed on various farms throughout his tenure with the farm work program from 2004 to 2010 and from 2014 until his passing. Today, on behalf of the Ministry of Labor, the Honorable Carl Samuda, the Permanent Secretary, Ms. Colette Roberts-Risden, the team at the Overseas Employment at the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, and the liaison officers at the Jamaica Central Labor Organization in the US, we wish to convey our sincere condolences to Mr. Winter's family and friends. We are grateful for his contribution to the farm work program and the pride and dignity he exhibited while representing Jamaica overseas.
This is really a sad occasion, you know. Papa was a good friend of ours, you know. You know, I represent, you know. Those nights. You know, God gives life and God takes it away.
A number of other persons participated in the Thanksgiving service. They included Winters' friends Horace Stone, Alric Roden, and Desiree and Farron Kalu, as well as nephew Delroy Forbes, grandniece Shaquan Williams, and niece Chantel Matthews, who read the second Bible lesson. A minority of Winters' siblings were unable to attend the burial service due to overseas employment issues or illnesses. His eldest daughter, Carrion, who works as a teacher overseas, attended the candlelight vigil held in his honor, but she was absent from the burial due to overseas employment obligations.
In closing, listen to the psalmist. God is present, but we have to choose to trust Him. God is present to help us in our challenges, in our problems, in our hopelessness, in our powerlessness, but we have to choose to trust Him.
Some of the bereaved relatives participated in a floral tribute. They included Winters' sister Rosie, Sister Mary, Sister Darky, who was celebrating her birthday, Sister Yvonne, Brother Manley, Daughter Cornelia, Daughter Sanelia, who works as a nurse overseas, and Daughter Amelia. Relatives and friends of the deceased started their relatively short journey to Lluidas Vale Cemetery. The skies opened up, but the people were unstoppable in their show of respect for Winter. Taxi operators could have allowed the hearse to carry their late colleague's body, but they did otherwise. They carried him. When their hands got tired, they placed the casket on their shoulders. The people eventually reached Lluidas Vale Cemetery for the final burial rites. They jostled to see Winter for the last time.
Folks, can we just listen please? The rains are coming. We are going to give you a last view. Yes, but please afford his daughters to see the family members calling us. So just look and leave.
We commit his body to be buried.
Some wept. Eventually, the committal was done. In Lluidas Vale Cemetery, this is the Jamaica Beacon.